here are 7 bold predictions I have for Pokemon in the near future. So this video is inspired off of Pokeos. Shout out to him for the video idea. I really liked his idea, so honestly I thought I want to make a spin-off of my own. So yeah, we've got 7 predictions here. So I don't want to waste your time. Let's just begin. Now I just want to say number 1 is an idea not many people have brought up, and because the item is so new, it hasn't really had much of a chance for it to really grow. So number 1 is a pretty important item, so I really recommend you stick around till the end. But let's begin. Alright, number 7, I reckon these Pokemon boxes are going to do some serious returns. I think within the next 12 to 24 months, I believe that these will be one of the highest appreciating items for the sole reason that Pokemon exclusives for Japanese just do amazing. I would never invest in Japanese. I would never invest in Chinese. But if we're talking exclusives, I'm there all day long. These boxes is the perfect example of what you want. So, basically, it has, I mean, you guys probably know what's inside, but basically, the thing that I liked so much about this box is that it reminds a lot of people about ponchos. And because a lot of people can't afford ponchos, which is totally fair enough, they're very expensive, a lot of people go to something like this instead. They look at this and they kind of like get a bit of resemblance, and maybe they like the certain Pokemon that's being featured, like a Victini or a Gyarados. People really like those cards, so then naturally these do well. Now, Pokemon don't make these types of boxes very often. They very rarely make them. So when they, well, holy crap, I almost dropped it. So when they do, it does absolutely phenomenal. I don't think there is a single one of these boxes that is under 500 USD other than these boxes that just came out. They always go up to 500, 1,000, 2,000. They always do ridiculous numbers. Even if the card inside is like a shiny holo or a couple Japanese packs, it doesn't matter. But then when you have a really nice looking promo inside, that must I remind you, the promo inside is a reverse holo foil, so it actually does have texture to it, but also the grading is really difficult. You see the cards inside are packed very poorly, so getting a PSA 10 is actually sort of difficult. And getting a PSA 10 goes for about the $600 range, which in my opinion, I believe it'll dip, but the fact that it's already selling for that range just kind of goes to show you the absolute strength for this and the confidence people have with it. I believe it'll be a great collector's piece, and the fact that there's 3 makes it only better, because if there was 1 and there was 1 million copies printed of it, it wouldn't do as well as having 3 and having 33,000 copies of each one printed. The reason is because why would you get 1 when you can get a pair? See, I have 3 pairs, but if they only released 1 of these, I might have only gotten 5 or 3. But the fact that there were 3 of them, that's why I got 3 different pairs. So I believe that this is going to do absolutely phenomenal, and I just see it doing numbers. Apparently there is a rumor of a reprint, but at the end of the day, it's not really that reliable until it's actually officially announced. And if there's no reprint, these will skyrocket. If there is a reprint, it'll get shot down for a bit, but I believe it'll just go right back up. I just want to also tap onto this for a second. The thing about this is a lot of people will buy this purely because they believe it'll be the next Poncho. So there'll be a lot of buying power on this, even though it won't be the next Poncho. If you look inside, it's not a full art promo. Full art Japanese promo versus just a Japanese promo is like night and day in the growth. So this will do well, not as good as a Poncho, but I believe these will do absolute numbers. I believe we could see gains like Pokemon Center ETBs or 151 ETBs. I believe we could see similar gains on this. Alright, number 6, I believe Destined Rivals will not only hold its price it's currently at, but I also think it's going to go up more in the future. So Destined Rivals is just far better than any other set in Scarlet and Violet whenever it comes to the main sets, and that's a pretty big deal. You see, when you've got different sets that are all really, really good, generally they all start to appreciate in the same time. But if you've got a set that is miles ahead of every other set, take Evolving Skies compared to like Silver Tempest, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, those are good sets, but Evolving Skies is miles and miles ahead of it, right? So then it's in a world of its own. Now, if we look at Evolving Skies, when Silver Tempest was 130, Evolving Skies was 400. So does that mean that this could be 4 times the price of other boxes? Maybe. I kind of doubt it because it is a bit much, but I genuinely believe we're going to see some serious gains for this in the future, but I also believe that it'll hold its price pretty well. I believe it could probably go to about 350 to 400, and then it stops until it eventually goes out of rotation. That's what we saw with Evolving Skies. It's not as good as Evolving Skies, but it does have more popular Pokemon inside versus the Evolutions. The Evolutions generally have a lot of like new fans in the hobby, but a lot of old school fans really like Team Rocket. But also on top of that, we haven't seen any Team Rocket sets in like 20 years, so this will just stand out like a sore thumb. I truly believe Destined Rivals will be the kind of set that people will, in the future, they'll beg that they could go back and buy at MSRP. You know, people really wish that they could buy Fusion Strike at 200 or Evolving Skies at 200, but I believe this is going to be the next box set where people think like, damn, I really wish I was in the hobby then. Like, we all wish we were in the hobby when Team Up was a thing, or Flash Fire, or Phantom Forces, but You're in the hobby when Destin Riles is here. So what do you think the price of this is going to be in 5-10 years? It's going to be in the thousands. This will be the next Evolving Skies. And I said it in this video here. Like, it was like my third video I ever made. I said it's the next Evolving Skies. It is a slam dunk. People thought Prismatic was the next Evolving Skies. I don't think it is. I think Prismatic is a fantastic set, but you need a main booster box for people to get more attached to the set. So what I believe this will do is, I believe this will be miles ahead of any other Scarlet and Violet main set. This is what I said in my video the other day. I believe it was in this video here. I said that all of my Scarlet and Violet boxes, I love Journey Together. I love Paldea Evolved. But you know what? Not enough to hold on to them long term. In probably a year, I'm going to sell my Paldea Evolved once it's fully out of rotation and it's had some time to age, and I'm just going to siphon all that money straight into Destined Rivals. Whether I have to pay retail or the resale value, whatever it is, I want to get as much of this as possible because it's just a fantastic set. And I believe people have a lot less time than they actually think with Destined Rivals. I reckon that's going to do some serious numbers a lot sooner, so people will wait till the last second, but then they'll be too late, and then they'll only figure that out once it's too late. Alright, number 5. I reckon in the next 12 months, what's going to happen is a lot of profit that people have made from older eras, I believe that they'll siphon that into Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield has a lot of run-up. Me personally, I don't hold any more boxes other than Evolving Skies, because I believe I can make more gains in Scarlet and Violet, but I still believe it'll go on an absolute run-up. Same with Scarlet and Violet. The main reason is because once a set goes out of rotation, then people feel more inclined to buy it because there's no reprints of it. Now, you get a set like Cosmic Eclipse and Team Up, they are selling weekly. Right now, I believe there are 2 auctions on eBay for Team Up booster boxes. We have never seen that in years. I have been in this hobby for about 3 and a bit years now. I have never seen 2 Team Up booster boxes be on auction, and both of them are at extremely high bids. That goes to show you how much liquidity there is in the market. Where do you think all of that money is going to go? Generally, money in the Pokemon industry doesn't leave the industry. It just moves around. And a lot of the time, people focus on the new sets where there's the most possible gains. So what happens? I buy a Team Up box for $200. I sell it for $10,000. Now, what happens is the person who bought it is a collector or a ribbon shipper, or they just overall want the box. But what I'll do is I'll siphon my profits since I'm an investor and I'm just here to make money. I'm just using me as an example. I've never bought a Team Up box, but if you were to buy one and hold them to a few years, once you eventually take profits, most of the time people just siphon that into newer items. So when you see Phantom Forces selling for like $13,000 as a booster box, when you see Team Up selling for like $10,000, Cosmic Eclipse $5K, all of that money is being siphoned into Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. I think it's happening at a much faster pace than people realize. Alright, number 4, I reckon a lot of the newer Scarlet and Violet sets that are kind of average will be a lot more accessible. I believe sets like Journey Together, Black Ball White Flare I think is a really good set, but people kind of don't really agree with that. Stellar Crown, Surging Spark, I reckon those sets will actually become a lot more accessible. And the reason is because what happens is if 151 and Paldean Fates go up like I say they will next year and they go on an absolute run-up, what will happen is everybody will shift their focus to that, and then more of the crappier sets will just be stagnant. We can use Sword and Shield as a great example. This happened with Astral Radiance, Battle Styles, those really, really poor all art sets. What happened was when Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Evolving Skies all went up, people immediately sold their Astral Radiance, they immediately sold their Battle Styles, and they just went straight for those sets. You know why? Because people generally work on FOMO and fear. If they can see all Sword and Shield sets are blowing up except for the one box they're holding, they're immediately going to sell it, causing a ton of selling pressure. But here's the thing, no one wants to buy it because it's not moving up. You see, if you've got the entire era going up, but like 2 sets, no one's buying those 2 sets. Those are stained forever. Those are cursed. So what generally happens is all the money flows into a couple sets. It's not going to be Surging Spark, Stellar Crown, Shadow Fable, Paldea Evolved, Temporal Forces, Paradox. No, it's just going to be like 4 sets. It's going to be like Paldean Fates, 151, Destined Rivals, and Prismatic. And that's virtually it, right? So I was really interested in buying Twilight Masquerade. I was really interested in buying Surging Sparks. But to be honest with you, my thought process is this. If you want to invest in an older Scarlet and Violet set and start seeing gains from pretty much just today, buy Paldea Evolved. If you want to invest in a good couple years and get the maximum gains, buy Destined Rivals. Why would you buy any other set? Sure, you can buy Paradox, Rift, Temporal Forces because those are also going out of rotation, 100%. But that would be more of a short-term play. But for the sets like Stellar Crown and those newer sets that aren't going out of rotation, those sets you're going to find pretty easily. I believe they're going to be pretty readily available, especially the fact that as the mega sets come out, no one's going to want to open up Stellar Crown, right? People will bear opening up a set even if it's not worth it, if it's like one of the new ones. But once the set becomes like a year old, no one really cares. That's kind of the thing. At the time, people think like, oh yeah, I mean, Stellar is okay. It's got a Squirtle, it's got a Bulbasaur. But once a couple years go by, honestly, no one really cares. And we can see sets like Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, Scarlet and Violet Base, Rebel Clash. Those sets have just been absolutely dead. They have not moved. Why have they not moved? Because no one cares. Anyone who was holding a bag of those has immediately dumped it and putting it into Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Evolving Skies, because they are betting that the same patterns that is happening now will happen in the future. And you know what? It probably will. So those bad sets, good news for collectors, they're going to be extremely available. I reckon these sets are going to be extremely easy to obtain. Booster boxes, probably not, but blister packs, elite trainer boxes, I believe those will be extremely obtainable. Maybe a couple booster boxes here and there, but overall the set will be very obtainable to just go in a store and open up a booster bundle. Alright, number 3, I believe we'll specifically see a massive run up in 151 in 2026. Why specifically 151? The reason is because it is the second set in forever that has sold out while being in rotation organically during the market is cool. So if we look at sets like Shining Fates, it sold out upon release. If we look at sets like Hidden Fates, that sold out upon release, but those were during a hype phase. There have been only 2 sets that I can recall. Maybe there's been others, I don't think there have, so that's why I'm saying like allegedly, but I'm pretty confident there's only been 2 sets in all of Pokemon that have ever sold out during the market being cool. You got 2 sets. First of all, Evolving Skies, and second of all, 151. That is no laughing matter. The first one being Evolving Skies is ridiculous, because if you invested $10,000 into Evolving Skies when it came out, and you held it today now, you would have about $200,000 to $300,000. That is ridiculous. So the question is, what's going to happen with 151? Because you see, when Evolving Skies was 2x the MSRP, which is what we see with 151 booster bundles, when Evolving Skies was that price, even if you bought it then and you held it to today, you would still be looking at about a 1,000% return, give or take. So when you see numbers like that, and then you see 151 is 2x MSRP right now, it kind of just makes you think, what are the numbers that 151 could do? Even if it does half the gains that Evolving Skies does, that is still a 5x from here, and that is ridiculous. And there is a 5x in the next 4 years. What if in the next 4 years, on top of that, there's another 5x? You would be looking at some serious gains. The reason why I'm picking out 151 specifically is because it's the only set that sold out while the market was cool. Palette Fates was dead on shelves. You couldn't move it for the life of you. Prismatic Evolutions, it was available until it wasn't. Once it wasn't, that's when everybody went crazy for it. Twilight Masquerade was available forever. All these sets were really, really available. You look at 151 and it was available for a couple weeks. This is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. They say that 151 was everywhere. Sort of. It was everywhere, but hang on. Booster bundles sold out on the first day. Booster bundles were impossible to get your hands on. Not only that, booster bundle displays were impossible to get your hands on. And you know why? Because there weren't limits back then. So one person would go to a store and just buy 100 booster bundles. So booster bundles were not accessible in the slightest. They were very hard to get. ETBs were pretty accessible for a couple weeks until those sold out. They sold out pretty quickly, and then bit by bit, every single item sold out until eventually it was just UPCs. Then UPCs sold out, and that was it. But the thing is, people act like 151 was readily available for ages on end. No, it wasn't. The best product sold out on release. The second best product sold out within like a week, and then all the other worst products, the worst packed value products, sat there for a couple weeks until eventually those sold out, and then it was just a UPC, and then that sold out. So it's not like it was readily available and no one wanted it. People act like it was this thing that was there for shelves on months on end. Not really. The worst products were available at some stores after a month, but realistically, after about 30 days, everything was gone. So yeah, and that was without a sale. They didn't need to sell it on a sale. There were some stores selling it for $70 or $80 in ETB, and they still got away with it. And that was like on the first week of release. Now this ties into number 2, which is Scarlet and Violet as a whole. The reason is, when you see the first sets go out of rotation, what happens is people then FOMO into everything. You see, people can't speculate if there's nothing to go based off. You see, if you've got a new product, let's just say they make an ultra premium collection box. It's got 1,000 packs inside, right? You can't speculate on that. You can't go back in time and look and go, all right, well, this ultra premium collection box went up this much, so I believe that this new one can go up as well. When you've got new products, you can't speculate on them, right? So with Scarlet and Violet, we can't really speculate on newer Scarlet and Violet until we see the older Scarlet and Violet go up. And I think we're really going to see this once again. When 151 goes up, the next chain reaction is everything is going to follow. The reason why everything is going to follow is because people are then going to look at 151 and think, oh, hang on, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that Scarlet and Violet can make a lot of gains and Scarlet and Violet can go up a lot? Ooh, okay, let me quickly jump on everything else before those go up a lot. That's going to happen because the same thing happened with Sword and Shield. When Evolving Skies really shot up, then people just FOMO'd into everything. They looked at Astral Radiance and tried to justify it. They looked at Silver Tempest and tried to justify it. They looked at Battle Styles and tried to justify it. They would look at these sets and go, oh, okay, it's not as good as Evolving Skies, but hey, if it can at least match half of Evolving Skies gains, I'll be happy. That's what a lot of people did because they saw the main one go up a lot and then they wanted to speculate on the other ones. Generally, people need something to go based off. That's why the Moonbryon being like 16,000 PSA 10s and being so expensive is a huge pioneer for the Pokemon hobby. And the reason is because that was the first card to have such a high pop but also be so expensive. So now that has done it, Grey Felt Hat Pikachu has also followed having a massive pop and being extremely expensive, and now we're seeing a bunch of cards like the Charizard from 151 also do really well. But guess what? The Umbreon pioneered the way there. So we're going to see 151 pioneer for Scarlet and Violet, and a bunch of other sets will go on a massive run-up for the sole reason people will miss out on 151, and then they'll hope that they can make similar gains with other sets. Alrighty, number 1. I believe that UPCs will go on a massive run-up. Now, I believe UPCs will be known as the most premium product of a set, and I want to explain my thought process towards why. The reason why I believe UPCs will do so well is because you can't speculate on any UPC because they're so new. However, next year, 25th Celebration UPCs are going to be so damn expensive. I believe what it'll do is people look at that and go, oh, I didn't know a UPC could be that expensive, and then they'll buy other UPCs. They'll buy Charizard UPC, they'll buy 151 UPC, and they'll buy Prismatic SBCs. The reason why is because everything about this is so good. The artwork is good. The promos are good. The playmat is good. Everything about it is so good. And don't underestimate the power of good promos. When we see good promos, such as a Mewtwo and Mew from the Tin in Teamer, when we see promos like the Darkrai and Umbreon, those cards can be so expensive as 10s. And you know what? If they're so expensive as 10s and they're difficult to grade, it carries the entire box or the entire collection box. Now, we're seeing the Mew and the Mewtwo inside of the 151 UPC just do absolute numbers. And what we're going to see in the future is, I believe, as Celebrations gets older and older and the UPC goes from $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, then this will follow. And the reason why this will follow is because people don't like to speculate. I'll give you a good example. A good example is Bitcoin, right? A lot of people didn't think that Bitcoin would be more than $100 or $200 or $500 or $1,000, $100,000, whatever. But the thing is, once that happened, then people start speculating other coins matching its gains. Then people said, oh, well, if Bitcoin can go to 100k, XRP can go to $10. If Bitcoin can go to 100k, Ethereum can go to $10,000. Because they speculated, because they went, all right, well, because something in this space is so expensive, being in this space, the crypto space, Bitcoin is this expensive, then they're speculating that this can do similar gains. The thing about UPCs is that there's no old UPC to go based off. There's no 10-year-old UPC that's $10,000. The oldest UPC we have, I believe, is the Celebrations UPC. It might be the RCS one. I kind of forgot which one came first. But the Celebrations one is the most expensive. So when we see the Celebrations one absolutely skyrocket to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, we're going to see other ones follow as well, for the sole reason that people are going to try and replicate the gains. Humans try to find patterns. That's what we do. We always try to find patterns. With gambling, you know what they do? A lot of time they show the past history of different winners and when they won, or they'll show the past history of which different numbers hit on roulette. The reason why is because humans always try to find patterns. People try to find patterns for everything. When you open up booster packs, when people open up a booster box, you've got the right and the left side of packs. People will say that they prefer the right side because the right side always has better packs. Or people will say that Booster Bottles has better packs. Or they'll say ETBs have better packs. And the thing is, people always look for patterns. So when people see the Celebrations is going to go up, this will also naturally trickle up as well, for the sole reason that people will try to find patterns, and this is something that will keep their eyes on. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching.